We're going to go Minnesota Vikings here next. They start against the Bears. So all the NFC North teams playing each other to kick things off. The Vikings win total is just 8.5 here, Sam. Okay, just 8.5. Cynthia has them at 8.7, so slightly over here in her projections. Vikings with 14 wins last year. Upgrades on the offensive line, upgrades on the defensive line, but only 8.5 here. Maybe is the market saying Sam Darnold or just Sam Darnold's 2024 production going to be very, very difficult for J.J. McCarthy to replicate here?
I mean, yeah, I think it's saying a few things. Number one, it's saying that like even the teams that win 14 games in any given year do not get a 14-game win total projection the following year. Like you're projected at 11.5, 12 at the highest. That's just where the elite teams go. So number one, they're expecting any kind of 14-win performance to regress back a little bit anyway. Number two, I think this is just kind of where you put even a good team that's dealing with an unknown quarterback. Like as much as JJ McCarthy, there's a lot of data points that speak positively of him. It's all extrapolation. I mean, we talked about that before when we looked through the rosters, et cetera. You know, Kevin O'Connell, the data points are stacking up. Justin Jefferson, the weaponry around him is great. The offensive line has been rebuilt. And the other 5 quarterbacks from his draft class all looked good last year. So you put all those things together, it's all pointing you in one direction in a positive note for JJ McCarthy, but it's secondary evidence. It's not, here's JJ McCarthy cooking in an NFL uniform. It's all guesswork, right? So there's also the chance that he's just not good. And if he isn't, it's going to be really difficult to get more than 8.5 wins. So, I think ultimately that's just where you put an unproven commodity at quarterback, even on a good team, with a good situation around him.
So they start, as the chat mentions, all the island games they have to kick things off. They're the Monday night game against at Chicago. By the way, I think there's 5 Monday night doubleheaders this year. I know how much you love those. I kind of like the Monday night doubleheaders when I'm not at one of the games. So Monday night at Chicago to kick things off. They play the Falcons on Sunday Night Football at home the next week. Then they play the Bengals. Then they're at Pittsburgh, and they're at Cleveland. So they go rival at Chicago to kick things off, and then weeks 3, 4, and 5 they're going through the AFC North before they get one of those early buys. So that's what we're going to see from JJ McCarthy early in the season here at Chicago, home against Atlanta. 8.5 though for a team. As much as we were just raving about Kyle Shanahan and what he's done for quarterbacks, I've cited many times the Kevin O'Connell factor, and now the new Kevin O'Connell data point. He's elevated Kirk Cousins. He's elevated Sam Darnold. Can he get the most out of J.J. McCarthy? I think 8.5 for a team like the Vikings that has been really good under Kevin O'Connell the last 3 years. I think I would go over here too. And because it's May, just if you guys are keeping track, I'm going to go over on probably 25 out of 32 teams here. I'm just in positive land here. Our reasons for optimism show did better than the reasons for concern show. We are just skewing optimistic here. It feels like I've won in the optimism pessimism game here, Sam, when we go, head to head on these things.
All right, that's enough of that, Steve. Over 50% of the people listening to this are not subscribed right now. So click that button and then we can get back to whatever it is Steve's telling you about. The Vikings, I don't know how much input they have on each team has on the international games, but the Vikings kind of pulled a sneaky little trick with the international doubleheader as well. They've effectively turned 2 of their road games into neutral site games that they're going to go back to back on and get out of the way, where they have the game in Dublin, the game in Ireland against the Steelers. And then the following week, they go across to London and play Jacksonville, I think, in the London game. So those are theoretically 2 road games for Minnesota relative to the rest of that division. But instead, they're going to be neutral site games across the pond, and they get both of them out of the way on a kind of double week swing.
It's Steelers and then the Browns, and before the bye. Right. I should have mentioned that. So weeks 4 and 5. But they're the first team to have to stay overseas, right? They're the first team to do that, or have the Jags done back?
I think the Jags might have the Jags stayed. They're certainly the first to do it in different countries.
Yeah, so I mean that's a factor here, because when you have to stay, when you're away from your home stadium and what you're used to, you lose the ability to train the way you're used to and everything. That's what people don't realize. Like the difference in Football versus other sports, baseball reference. Like when you play baseball, you're on the road for 81 days, for 81 games out of 162. You're completely on the road. You're living in a hotel. Everything's different. For football, it's like one night away and then you're back. And so even on road weeks, you're training at home, you're sleeping in your own bed, you have your routine. The only difference is, you might have like a road night game and you started a little bit later on a Monday, but you're in your routine. This is different from Minnesota. They're going to be away for that week across the pond, and you lose some of the amenities, so to speak, of what you're used to.
Yeah, but teams do that a lot, the kind of double week swing where, a West Coast team goes East Coast for 2 weeks on the road. They will stay on the East Coast rather than come back and fly back again. Same East Coast to West Coast. Like teams do that element of it fairly regularly. So, you're disadvantaged for 2 straight weeks on the road. The difference here, though, is that Minnesota is the other team is also a road team, right? Because they're flying across to Dublin or across to London to play these games as well. So, yeah, like there are all the disadvantages of being a road game for Minnesota, but there are also the disadvantages of it being a road game for the opponent as well. And so I think it's smart to be able to essentially convert 2 of those games to neutral site games rather than being on the road twice for the Vikings.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of our video.
For more great content, click here to subscribe and here to watch another video. We'll see you again soon.